What's up, everyone? Just gonna do a quick little stream to show how to put together the beans. And then I'll come back later and do the coleslaw together. It's kind of a weird day. And I also know that Cookery is making pulled pork too. But I'm not doing it in a pressure cooker. Mine's been on the smoker since 8 a.m. Okay, let's look at our recipe. So for the beans, this should make about 6 to 8 portions or servings. And you will need a pound of dried small white beans. So that's about 2 cups. I think I have a lot more than that, so I might have to adjust my recipe accordingly, which is fine. And then you'll want to boil those first with 2 tablespoons of kosher salt. And then while those are boiling, it should take about 40 minutes on the stovetop. We can prep our aromatics, so 1 onion, a couple of carrots, a stalk of celery, 2 garlic cloves, and some thyme, rosemary, and bay leaf. And that's going to go into the beans when they go into the oven, as well as some dark molasses, so half a cup, and Dijon mustard. And a lot of the recipes for Boston baked beans usually use some of the leftover cooking liquid that you boiled the beans with, but I'm going to put in some beer today because it's Thirsty Thursday. So I have a honey brown from Big Rock Brewery. It's an amber lager. It's a nice sweet and malty beer to do with beans for sure. It's also good with any porks or beef as well. And then if you didn't catch the stream yesterday, at the end I brined the pork shoulder overnight in this Vancouver Island brewing Juan de Fuca Cerveza. So it's kind of similar to like any domestic beer, a cheap one like a Coors Light or something. So don't feel like you have to go out and get a really nice beer to brine your pork in. Just use something cheap and simple. And you'll still get that nice malt and weedy flavor in there overnight. So let us start. Oh, let me just say, for your dried beans, they should be soaked overnight. Hi, Michael. How are you? It's really leggy. But I totally forgot to soak mine overnight, so I did them just quickly this morning in some water, and I think they'll be good to use. So I'm just gonna pour those into this pot here. I definitely have more than I need, but you can always use cooked beans in a salad or a soup. So don't feel like you just have to throw them out right away if you made too much. Thanks, Michael. I appreciate that. Here are the beans. Just underneath there. It's a pretty big pot there. I probably have closer to 8 cups than 2 cups. But we're going to put those on the stovetop and get those cooking right away. Because these beans will take a good 4 hours in the oven, I'm sure. And now we can prep our onion, carrot, and celery. Yo, Caleb, what's up? How's your day going? Yeah, dope in the crock pot today. Except we're not using a crock pot. We'll just do it in the oven instead. But you could do these in the crock pot for sure. Put them on before you go to work or school. And then when you come home, they should be good to go. Mr. Zombie Killer, what's up? Doing good, man. Kind of a weird little day, but I'm just rolling with it. If you guys go into the Discord right now, you'll be able to see the pork shoulder that's been cooking all day. Yeah, homemade baked beans for the win. Okay, I don't know if any of my onion squad is in here yet, but I know they love to watch me cut up the onions every time. So we're gonna go small dice on all of our veg because we want to keep it relatively the same size as the beans. That way you get a nice mouthful of everything when you go to eat it later. Well, I was up early because we had to put the pork shoulder on. So we started the smoker at around 7 a.m. and then the pork went on at 8. So I've been kind of babysitting that all day because it's not an electric one, it's charcoal. But it's fun, so I'm learning a lot about that. And then we had people over taking photos because we're gonna sell the house that we're in. Dude, you should watch this then. I'll teach you right now how to chop an onion right, and then it won't like fly all over your cutting board. Yeah, charcoal, and then we used walnut wood to smoke it. So, first things first, you see this little butt end of the onion here that's like always darker? Always cut the opposite side of that, because that's gonna hold together all of your onion. That's bad to say, but I still laughed. And then what we want to do is follow the natural lines in the onion fibers. You should be able to see that. There we go. And that's kind of my guide. But at the same time, most people just chop straight across, right? And then you always wind up with like these weird chunks afterwards. So the other trick that chefs use is to cut it all the way across the semicircle instead, and make sure you angle your knife. And then we're also going to leave probably about 1/4 of an inch on this side that we're not going to cut through at all, and that way your onion's not going to fly everywhere. So let's do this first one together. Always keep your index finger against your knife blade. That way you can guide it to where you want it to go. And then you'll see as I chop this how uniform everything's gonna look. But this thing is not falling apart, right? Everything's holding together, which is making it a lot easier. And then once you get to the end, try to go as close as you can and keep everything a consistent size. And then we're just gonna chop around that, nice thin slices. I usually discard this little onion butt part because it is quite tough and doesn't usually break down that easily. Crying already. All right, guys, one more time. See, you are going to be a pro. everyone keeps telling me to do. I'll just cry it out though. I look like a Muppet. I'm just washing up the celery. Jim, you're here. What is up, sir? Squad. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is cut our celery into, let's say, about 4-inch lengths. That way it's easier to cut. So some people always try to like cut a huge length, right? It's always a lot easier to cut something to fit your blade properly. I know, I went on early. It's weird. And then we're gonna cut this the same size as the onion. So a nice small dice. I think the onions are key in this recipe because we cook them so long that they turn out more sweet, right? You're not gonna have that strong flavor. Okay, so once again, let's cut our carrot into smaller lengths. And then I'm just gonna cut these little guys in half because they are so small. I don't know where everyone is. Must be busy. I was just watching Cookery before I started. And she is making pulled pork today too, guys. But she's doing pressure cooker method. So that's the quick method to what I'm doing. And she's not smoking it. So I'm not saying her method is bad at all. I'm just saying it's way different. So if you want to check it out at any time, feel free. There's always more than one way to make something. Yay, technology. I was gonna make buns as well for later, but I don't know if I have enough ingredients. The recipe I looked at needed eggs, and I totally don't have any right now, so maybe I'll look for a different recipe real quick after this. Jim, you can put olive oil in the water. I mean, I usually don't, but Sam always does. But even though I don't, like, nothing happens. It doesn't stick, no nothing. Just make sure you toss it with olive oil after you boil it. And don't rinse it with cold water or anything like that. So you want to keep those starches on your pasta. That's what helps to make the sauce really nice. If you rinse your pasta after boiling, I'm sure the Italians would swear at you. I am very sure of it. Okay, we got 3 cloves of garlic, a couple of smaller ones here. Protect yourself. Close the blinds. Don't let him see you. Mise en place, my good sir. Mise en place. Look at those colors. I'm probably gonna mince this in later, so I'm just gonna leave those as whole cloves right now. Good to go. And you know what? I have to go trek out in the snow real quick and grab some thyme and rosemary. Let's see if you can get a sneak peek of the smoker though first. Can you see it puffing away out there? Kind of. You see the little smoke plumes. I've been babysitting it all day. Okay, these guys are almost at a boil too. We're looking good. Herbage. So I am going to chop these up as well. By all means though, if you didn't want to, you could leave the sprigs in whole and then just pick them out later. Just it might be a little bit hard to fish through all of the beans after they're cooked. That's my only issue. Jim, did you see the beer that I'm using for the beans? We do, Caleb. Luckily, we live somewhere that doesn't get really, really cold in the winter in Canada. So we're able to grow our herbs year round. Just the really like woody herbs though, like rosemary, thyme, and sage. A basil, like any time that it would get close to freezing, your basil will die. Same with cilantro and parsley and anything more delicate like that. But yeah, I do really love that I'm able to just go into the backyard and pick fresh herbs. Because they are quite expensive to buy in the grocery store. Okay, rosemary is done. I mean, maybe not a lot of money, but it does add up over time. Especially when you cook as much as I do, I guess. I almost use herbs every day, I'm sure of it. $100. Probably. Probably a good amount like that. All day, every day. Did you guys eat anything awesome today yet? Okay, there is my setup. We're good to go. That's all you need, but I can get like the brown sugar and molasses and everything like that ready now too. Chicken breast and eggs. That's good, Jim. You're being great. Caleb, this is the pulled pork that's on the smoker right now. That was at halfway when I checked it. So excited. And I did type this recipe up, so I'm going to start doing that and then post them in the Discord. The invite is on my channel page. By all means, get in there. Okay, I'm going to get my bay leaf out as well. Oh, you can tell the beans are about to boil because they're getting like all foamy on top. It's looking good. Still need to add the salt to this pot. 2 tablespoons. And that's gonna help the beans cook better and soften them up. That's what I read on that tactic there. So I hope it works because I didn't soak them at all. I'm terrified, guys. It might not work. But I hope that they'll be finished by like 6 p.m., which is when we usually eat. Okay, I need half a cup of this molasses. And it says don't use blackstrap. I guess maybe it's just too strong. Get that pour action in there. He found us. And if you don't have molasses, guys, by all means, you could use brown sugar. I just wanted to empty out this container. That looks like car oil. Close enough, Jim Jim. What is molasses? It is cooked down sugar. I'll have to look from where it comes from, or it probably will say here. I think it's just cooked down palm sugar. That's why it's so dark, but it gives like that really nice caramel flavor. Yeah, refined sugar cane. Or sugar beets. It can be made from beets? That's cool. We're getting closer. We're almost there. Okay, I'm gonna just rinse that out a little bit so that I can pour the rest of that in later on. Potatoes and molasses. Good combo. I don't think so. I'm just gonna find a bun recipe that doesn't have eggs.
You don't want me to buy any?
Well, just wait. And I'm gonna check like right now. Okay guys, let's check a bun recipe. Real quick. Yeast buns. while we have time. Buttery yeast rolls, Southern style butter rolls, mom's yeast rolls. Let me put in no egg. There's a Land O'Lakes recipe. Okay, let's see this one that has 5 stars from 148 people. And it still has an egg. I think the egg just adds richness more than anything though. If it's only 1 egg, will it really matter? Let's see. We'll dig deeper, guys. Okay, so here's my answer. Eggs added to dough help with rising. A bread dough rich with egg will rise very high because eggs are a leavening agent. So, even though I don't have eggs, I do have my sourdough starter, which is probably just as good. And that is fine with me. I always, I guess, tweak my baking recipes, even though you're not supposed to. I'm sure it will be fine. Because the sourdough starter is going to help to strengthen the dough as well and help it rise from the natural yeast in it. So let's do a recipe without the egg. So I did previously crimp one. That is a pretty cool method. They're called Parker House rolls. Really traditional, made in Boston, and they're really, really nice and buttery and flaky. So probably a classic roll that you will always find when you're going out to eat or in the grocery store. And I've never made these before. I think maybe in school, but I can't remember that far ago. And so you make the dough, it rises for an hour on its own. And then you transfer it over, divide it up, and then let it rise again for another hour. And then it only takes about 20 minutes to bake, it said. So whenever you're making bread, always make sure you calculate in that time for rising. So this will probably take a good 2.5 hours. Our beans are boiling. It's looking good. So you see that foam on top? I'm gonna skim that off. That's not needed anymore. That's just all the impurities coming out of the beans. But you could grab eggs if you want. Mom. What's going on?
That's all just eggs.
Yeah. Let's get a little skim action on that pot. Hi, Mia. How are you? I know I came on early because I had to get these baked beans in the oven, but I didn't want to just pop on the stream later and be like, well, all we have to do today is make coleslaw because everything else is cooking. So I'm gonna set a timer right now as well, 30 minutes. And then I'm gonna check the beans to see if they're pretty tender at that point. I'm gonna do a little bit of a short stream. just putting the Boston baked beans together, and then we'll mix up the bun dough, and then that will give me like a nice little hour break to have lunch in between. And I should be back obviously by 2:30 or 3-ish, and then we'll continue the stream from there. I'll make sure that I divide the buns and everything with you guys. I haven't baked in a while. Pre-meal stream. I mean, I could do an eating stream, because you know what I'm having for lunch today? Lasagna. Aw, yeah. You know what? I have a little bit of a headache today, so I'm gonna make sure I keep drinking lots of water. Jim. It would be torture. You know what, dude? Sam said that was the best lasagna he's ever eaten. So I'm pretty stoked about that. And I think I agree with that statement. Okay, getting this crazy mixer out. You guys know the deal. You know what it is. And you know what I realized yesterday after the stream? I totally didn't even take a bite in front of you guys. We just admired how good it looked, and then I left. I guess I was just too excited. Oops. Good. Get in there. Mia, guess what? We had the photographer over this morning to take photos of the house, and we're gonna put it up for sale on the weekend. Crazy. Oh my god. Well, I'm glad you're better now. You should take photos of the food, right? I mean, we do have a pretty good camera here. I should really start using it. I feel like my body is just like fighting sickness today. Like, I just have a weird feeling in my head, and like, I'm just kind of, I guess, anal about things, like kind of grumpy, but I'm here. So I'm just gonna keep chugging water because I will not get sick. Screw that. Okay, this recipe that I'm making is gonna make 16 rolls. So that seems like quite a bit, but I mean, what is bad about freezing bread and just having rolls in the freezer for whenever you want? Pop them in the microwave for like 15 seconds, good to go. But I do need to fill up my flour still. We empty, fam. the loot. Biggest bag of flour of life. Let us pray that I don't get this everywhere. Because we like just cleaned the house. And this bag is like messed up. Let's be savage and rip it apart. I can't deal. Not successful. Holy Flexard, my man. It's been too long. How are you? What's new? Okay, we're going for the pour. Oh. Success. Great success. I'm doing okay, dude. I'm doing okay today. I think I'm battling a little bit of sickness that's been going around my house. Not feeling it. But you know what? I'm not gonna let it get to me. Like literally 20 minutes before I started, I was like, I don't even want to stream today. I was like being so grumpy and sassy. And I was like, you know what? I know once I go on, everyone's just going to make me feel so much better. I'll just talk to everyone and my mind won't be on it. So that's where we're at. Now Sam's just asking me, how's the pork? The pork is good. Flexard, my good sir. I will show you this photo of what else we are eating today. So good. So that's been smoking for 5 hours already. At 275 Fahrenheit, I've kept the smoker there. It's charcoal, so it was a little bit of a challenge. I don't usually do the smoking aspect on my own. It's more of my boyfriend's thing. I wish I could send you guys this because it's honestly so good. And you know what I'm gonna do real quick is just go take the temp. Because we have to cook it to 160 Fahrenheit and then wrap it. And then we'll cook it again until 190 Fahrenheit. And then by that point, it should be just like falling apart. I'll take the bone out of the middle and that will be the end of the stream. So let me go see where it's at. If you want, I can show you the situation of what I'm going into. And yeah, I'm wearing Crocs. What up? about 9 degrees away from having to wrap it. So I already have a 20-minute timer on my stove for the beans. I'm thinking everything's gonna come together pretty well. Flexard, it's still not the best, but we're not gonna fix anything now until we move to the new spot. Yeah, smoke that weed. I totally can, Moogie. Because at that point, the beans will be in the oven, so I'll switch the second cam over. And then I'll put it outside. We did a little like barbecue stream the other night as well, and it worked out good. Moogie. Okay, guys, we're looking great. Let's get this bun situation together. So 3 cups of flour and 3 tablespoons of sugar. Going into the mixer. I have my mixer fitted with the dough hook, if you guys have a KitchenAid. Oh, I was like, why is it stuck back there still? See, I'm totally off today. Ugh. I will not let this sickness get to me. My mind ain't right, guys. Maybe I should have a little kush. Kate's dying. So we also need 3 tablespoons of butter. And the sourdough starter, as well as some milk. We're battling. We do, Mia. I have a little like vape pen that I use instead. I don't really enjoy the taste of smoking it. So I just recently started doing that. My little bloom. And right now I have Kushberry in it. It's tasty. But I usually only use it once a day before bed. That's it. Maybe the weekends a little bit more because I know I'm not working or doing anything like that, but I'm definitely not a heavy user. Yeah, Kushberry. That's a thing. Totally is. This is the world we live in now, guys. You'll want to make sure your butter is nice and soft. Yeah, Mia. For this. That way it'll mix into the dough. You don't want it to be really chunky. Whedons. On the Whedon. Do all of you guys in here doink it up too? Is that why you always talk about it? I'm gonna give this a little stir. You know what? I don't even think that's gonna take 13 minutes. Let us set 5 more. Because those are already tender. Tender enough for me to eat. Yeah, smoking it is just, it leaves a weird flavor in your mouth, like it's really strong. But you definitely get used to it over time. I can tell you that with experience. Yeah, oh yeah, Mia, that's true. But yeah, be careful if you try edibles because they are super strong. Don't want to get too fudged up. What we did before, we made our edibles and we used one of the Reese's cupcake mixes that you can buy in the store. It was so good, guys. Dog got fudged up. Okay, butter is ready. And the next thing I have to do is grab the yeast real quick. Let's get this going. Wherever I stashed it. Ah, you know what? It's time to open a new jar. I just realized that I used up the last one. Where you at? The biggest jar. Just a traditional instant yeast. Yeah. Yeah, I know. That's the worst part is you never know when it's going to hit you. Hi, Yahtzee. What? You're still on vacay? Thanks for checking in. I'm doing pretty good. Feeling a little under the weather, but I'm not going to let that hold me back. Screw that. Big yoinks. Okay, 2.5 teaspoons of instant yeast. And one thing I have to say, guys, is I just smell like a smoker today. So I always make fun of Sam when he smokes meats because he just smells like a smoker for a good day and a half. So I understand why now. It's not like I've been fooling around with it that much. Smoky Kate is in the house. Okay, this is an interesting recipe. We don't have any water in it, just a cup of milk. And if you just pulled your milk out of the fridge like I did, you'll want to warm it up just a little bit too. That will just help to activate the yeast a lot quicker. But don't make it too hot. Just room temp. Just take the chill off of it. I'm gonna strain these beans as well. Right, meow. We got a lot in there. A lot. I don't know if I'm gonna use this whole pot. Okay, just gonna rinse out this pot real quick because I'm gonna use it to bake the beans in as well. That's one thing about this recipe is you bake it uncovered to get that nice caramelized crust on the top. I've never made this recipe before. I've made cassoulet and baked beans like that, but not the Boston style yet. I'm pretty excited. And whenever you're going to saute stuff with the oil, always make sure there's no water in the pot, because that's going to start to splash up. And it's scary. You don't want any burns. Okay, we're all clean. I'm going to start this and kind of stir the pot as I make the bread, because we want to get this in the oven sooner rather than later. Let's start with a good amount of olive oil. It's probably about 1/4 cup in there. Okay, a couple of seconds more on our milk. I'm running around in here today, getting my steps in. Okay, good. Now let's mix our yeast into our milk. So 2.5 teaspoons. Bam. Give that a little stir up. It's always a wise idea to mix your yeast into your liquid before making your bread dough. It just seems to activate a lot better that way. Okay, before I put that in, I'm gonna make sure my veg goes in the pot first. That way we won't have too much crazy stuff going at once. It's gonna get wild. Okay, so all of the veg is going in. So carrots, celery, and onion. No garlic yet and no herbs, because we don't want those to burn. Like a so. that all coated. And we're gonna cook that for a good couple of minutes. Get some nice caramelization going on there. Okay, yeast and milk is in. And let me just add a little bit of my starter in place of the egg. Should work. And if it doesn't, well then no buns for us. Sad. Get a little mixy on there. And then the last thing to go in is 1 1/4 teaspoons of salt. Get that butter in there. These are really rich buns in the best way possible. Mixy, mix, mix, mix. Yeah. Thanks, dearie. It does look good. I'm so excited to eat it. He came over, I think, when he was about 4 years old. Yeah, he was only 4, I think, when he came over. And then all of his, like, I guess, kindergarten teachers or grade 1 was giving his mom shit because he couldn't speak English, right? He's been here 28 years. Did he have a beard? Probably, Jim Jim. It's solid. Dough is coming together. It's not your bad at all. You didn't even know. It's your boyfriend's bad. Bad to the bone. Okay, so pretty sure after you open this, it should be kept in the fridge. Or at least I always keep yeast in the fridge. I think this dough is gonna mix for a good while. Mia, Dog is Sam. He is the Sammy. Sammy the beard. He's eating lunch, I guess, right now, so he's on Twitch. I love how we keep blowing your mind on stream. It makes my life. Oh, and in the bean recipe, it says we can add apple cider vinegar. That sounds super good. Give it a nice, like, sour, sweet flavor. Let's do it. Hey, Jim. Let's go, dough. You can do it. Okay, what I am gonna do right now though, while everything's cooking and mixing, I'm gonna go grab some foil for the pork real quick. Got that heavy duty-ish. I did 2 pieces just in case. Veg is looking like it's almost there. Okay, 2 seconds, guys. am here. Bundo is almost done. Let's add our minced garlic and herbs to the pan or pot. Saute those up a little bit. This is when the smells get really good. Stir it up. Yum. Okay, so a little bit of bean talk. These are going to take about 3 to 4 hours in a really low oven. So you can go up to 325, but I'm gonna do 300 Fahrenheit. The same method as braising any meats as well. What is it, Jim Jim? Okay, I'll check it. Check it out. That is a disgrace for a pineapple pizza. That's you, Jim Jim? No. Okay, this dough is beauty. Let's go real quick so that I can tend to the beans and then tend to the pork. Beautiful. Okay, so this is what we're looking for. Really nice and smooth exterior. It's nice and stretchy. The gluten's developed, so I'm just gonna roll this into a ball, and then that's gonna go chill for an hour in a nice warm place. So I'm gonna put mine by the fire, but if you wanna put it on the stove top where it's warm, that works too. Actually got a perfect timer on for that already. All right. So that pot can come off now. Just turn off the heat. You can leave it on the stovetop though. Bye, Sammy. Have a good rest of your day. And now, let us do this bean situation. So first thing I'm gonna pour into the pot is our beer. 2 cans of Honey Brown Lager. Repping some Big Rock Brewery today. I was the pastry chef and sous chef there for 3 years in Vancouver. This is gonna give a really nice malty taste to the beans as they cook. Next thing, let us mix our molasses in. Stay, spoon. Get that all combined. If anything stuck to the bottom of the pot, this is the time to now scrape it off. It shouldn't be burnt though. It should just be nicely caramelized from the veg. And then let's add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. That should be lots. So I'm gonna make the slaw up later with some of this vinegar in it as well. So I can just leave that out. And some mustard. This says 2 teaspoons. And now we're gonna put our beans into the pot and see how much liquid we have to add to cover them. You could use chicken stock, beef stock, water, apple juice, really anything you want to top up the pot. But I'm gonna keep it simple just because we have a lot of other flavors going on with our meal today. Get that all nicely combined. You might find that you'll have to add extra water as these cook in the oven. But don't be scared if it gets a really nice brown crust on top. A lot of people just stir that back in every couple of hours. And then that will make it taste really, really dark and rich. It's all about that caramel flavor. Oh, and I had a little bit of extra water, molasses water in this container. Don't waste your molasses. And that is good to go. So the oven hasn't told me it's ready yet. So I'm not gonna put that in. You don't like beans, Jim Jim? How come? What's up, sir? Talk to me. Okay, let me clear some of this stuff away first. And then I'll do the little camera switch over. And we'll go outside and wrap the pork together. And I'll just bring my phone out so I can still read chat. You don't know why you don't like beans? That's an issue, sir. Maybe someone hasn't made them right for you. Okay, so I'm gonna climb on the counters once again. Classic. Bear with me, guys. And then you know I'm gonna have to put that camera back up. Boom! Perfection. Beans in. And let's set 1 hour. You just know what you like, that's all. Going out on a Thursday. Oh, I'm caught up. Now you get kind of a house tour. I can't really see what you guys see. Hopefully I don't trip on anything. Really? Why do? There we go. I set it for a minute. Are you serious? Okay, back to doing. Okay, you guys are bearing with me. I got it set up. MTV Cribs. What's up, Julian? Okay, I'm going outside. Probably need some tongs of sorts, hey? Happiness. Jim, that's been on for over 5 hours now. It should take about 7 or 8. Okay, just going to grab that cam back in. Back in action. I just wanted to make sure that the grill didn't get too hot when I opened it. It is so long, yeah. So Cookery Nation right now, she's doing pulled pork too, but she's doing it in a pressure cooker, and she said it should only take about 80 minutes rather than like what, 8 hours? It is so long, yeah. So Cookery Nation right now, she's doing pulled pork too, but she's doing it in a pressure cooker, and she said it should only take about 80 minutes. Set up. Gucci. Alright guys, you know what it is. Lunchtime. It's already 1:45. So I will see you guys back at probably, let's say 3 or just before. We could do 2:45. You know what it is. Lunchtime. It's already 1:45. So I will see you guys back at probably, let's say 3 or just before. Bye guys. Thanks for watching. All of the babes are in the cooking. Bye guys.